Welcome back to SwitchCorner. It's that time of the week again, 10 deals under $10, or of course your local currency. Here we focus on the cheaper side of the eShop. If you want any price goes, then check out our Saturday edition for just that. Now before we do get started today, then we did launch a Discord finally. It's been asked for a fair few times, so our server is now live, and I'm going to pin that in the top comment down below. So with that luck, hit subscribe if you love the Switch as much as we all do here, join our growing family, and let's get started. So first up today, we've got for the King. It's hitting a new all-time low and actually bringing it into the sub $10 category for the first time ever. Now first up, what will make this one stand out, definitely the visual style. That low poly art direction is no doubt, love it or hate it. Me personally, I'm falling into the first camp, but underneath that, there's an extremely deep and challenging roguelike. That's right, this one actually has permadeath given the standard settings. This one, though it's procedurally generated, you're guaranteed here to get something just different enough that it will keep you coming back over and over again. It's essentially a tabletop board game that sends you on an adventure to find the Kingslayer. Here though, not only do you get the base game, but all DLC content as well. Come here for quests, turn-based combat, multiple story paths, and the most impressive bit, local or online co-op. If you can persuade a friend to pick this one up too, where you have someone living with you who will play along, it completely just elevates the experience. Coming in here though with 60% off, it's a great deal for the amount of content you will find. Alright, so Bomber Crew now, I don't think I've ever spoken about this one on the channel, and now seem like the perfect time because, well, over this next week we're gonna see the launch of Space Crew, the sequel that's basically giving the idea a Star Trek-like coat of paint, and that honestly sounds incredible. Describing itself though as a World War II strategic bombing sim, like for the King, the visuals might make you think, oh, this looks very easy. It's really not. Sometimes I think they do these cutesy visuals so you don't just smash your Switch into 1,000 pieces. Death here again is permanent, and not only do you need to keep yourself in the air, but keep your crew alive as well. It is a single player experience, this one, and it is, I gotta say, pretty stressful at points as a warning. Here though, you'll be managing everything from your flight level to your weapons to your fuel as you control the entire crew, and it's really a game of trying to do 1,000 things at once while hoping you don't forget to do something, well, essential. It's a lot of fun, this one though, and at 90% off, it's a good way to test out the format before the space variation drops later this week. Alright, so point and click fans, if you like the more weird and tongue-in-cheek, I strongly suggest the Darkside Detective. This deal, I will say, is US-Canada exclusive, but it is the only one on today's list with any sort of restrictions. While I will say it's short, you're looking at about 6 hours, it just has very strong writing, and I love the pixel style presentation. There's plenty of references in here, everything from X-Files to a real big Twin Peaks influence, and if I see Twin Peaks, that's nearly always a stamp of approval and a must buy for me personally. Here though, you'll be taking on the role of Francis McQueen, a detective who investigates the bizarre, the supernatural, and occasionally the odd missing cat. I mean, basically, if it crosses his desk, he's gonna take the job. With 9 different cases though to solve around Twin Lake City, it's great stuff with some solid jokes that absolutely land, fun stories that definitely keep the pace going, mix things up quickly, and then a great soundtrack just to top it all off. It is a slower pace, lots of dialogue, lots of puzzles, but I actually think this one is a perfect pick for the upcoming Halloween period if you want something that's not necessarily scary but has that kind of, horror vibe. 45% off, it's not quite the lowest, but it's not been on sale for 3 months, and I think the lowest price was maybe 50 cents lower, so it's not exactly, breaking the bank. So while I'm on the whole Halloween vibe, actually, Horror Bundle Volume 1, this goes on sale pretty often honestly, but this is actually a new all-time low with 85% off. There is no way in hell these games are worth the full bundle retail. These bundles, actually, you see them on the eShop all the time. I think they're absolutely designed for this very purpose, discount them frequently to get a ton of sales. There is no way they expect them to sell at a full price, but it is smart because you feel like you're getting, a lot for your cash, and I've even picked up a few myself. Here though, we get one really good game, Sly, and it's a metal 2D platformer, which is tough as nails, but worth the price tag alone, and that's the way I'd be looking at this bundle personally. The other 2 games are, basically free. To round out the package then, we get Uncanny Valley, a story-driven survival horror, and then Paranormal Activity, which I can't comment on. Never played that one. It sounds weird though, which is never a bad thing around the Halloween season, but I will say reviews on that one especially are below average. Alright, so here's one I picked up on a past sale, and I was actually impressed. Depths of Extinction. If anyone remembers Waterworld, this pretty much hooked into my nostalgia for that film, though I know it's also not the most respected of films either, let's put it that way. Here though, we find ourselves in a flooded world where machines have taken over and they're basically just out to wipe out humanity. Here though, we basically have a tactical turn-based RPG, which again has roguelike elements, which is a word I seem to be saying a lot today. But yeah, squads with different classes of character, 115 different weapons, armor, all that good stuff, and then over 30 enemy types to battle. Haven't beat it myself, but I swear I've clocked around maybe 10 hours and this thing is still going, so it's definitely like worth the cash. I'd suggest checking out an in-depth review of this one first, but the 40% off, gotta say, a decent chunk of change. Alright, so instead of highlighting my own pickup of the week this week, I'm trying something a little bit different. This was brought to my attention over on Discord, and I've seen a ton of comments surrounding the recently released Green How, and I'm actually diving into that one right after this video, but I know a lot of you are already interested. If you do want to pick it up, you can get a bigger discount with it, actually 33% off, if you own one of their other games, which includes Hollow, Thief Simulator, Timberman Versus or Panzer Dragoon. Hollow and Thief Simulator currently both 90% off, but they also, I mean, no nice way to say this, pretty much suck. Panzer Dragoon then, that's 33% off, not cheap though, it's around the $17 mark. It is though, I will say, the best game out of the four. If you want cheap and cheerful though, it's not an amazing game, but if you pick up Timberman Versus, you'll basically save more than you spend. Timberman is like $2 or your local equivalent, and this deal is available from what I can tell at least until October 28th. Which gives you plenty of time to wait and refuse for Green How before you go ahead and do this. And I mean, like, this workaround, it's saving you a bit of cash, and that's the important bit, so thanks Crazy Pokiko for pointing this one out. Alright, so Puzzle Fans Bridge Builder Adventure, this is a game I reviewed over on the channel and I gave it an above average 6 out of 10. One of my main complaints, the price, it was way too much, and well, they've definitely fixed that here with a solid 80% off. While it doesn't do anything out of the ordinary, it's a solid little bridge builder that incorporates a fantasy style with power-ups and this like orc theme. 60 levels though, it ramps quickly, it has additional challenges with these keys you need to collect, and yeah, the other miss for me, they had this cool world and style, and I would have just loved to have seen them, you know, explore the characters a bit more, maybe kind of give them like a little bit of background, a little bit of personality, because it was very close to actually separating itself in a pretty flooded like genre. Still though, you're gonna get your money's worth at this price, and my review is pretty in-depth if you want to check that out first. Tricky Towers now, and this one, another puzzle game, and for sure a heavy focus on multiplayer. It has single player, but this one really shines when you have local play on the go or you're jumping into its online play. Again, like most online games though, I do suggest you probably want to have a friend pick this one up as well, or I mean actually screw it up, look at it, join the Discord and share your friend code out there. We have a fair few people picking up games and basically making the whole online scenario work out just a little bit better. This one though, it's basically Tetris with physics, meaning each block you drop impacts the stability of the tower itself. Here though, you'll basically get 3 different game modes, online leaderboards, and if you like Tetris, a game I grew up on thanks to like the OG Game Boy, then this is well worth a look. 50% off, well worth it, because the game is easily worth full price. Our final 3 games of the week then, and these I'd put all of them up there as probably 3 of my favourite indies on the Switch. So let's quickfire the first 2, I've spoken about them before, but first, Raiden V Director's Cut, a masterpiece of a shmup that is extremely busy in its visual style. It's going to take some time getting used to it, but it's for sure one of the best on the console, probably up there with like Ikaruga and then Danmaku if you're looking at just Western releases. Now this will not come as a surprise, but this bullet hell, hard as nails, and for those new to this genre, I'm not sure I'd recommend it as a good starting point, or at least go in with patience in mind and take advantage of the difficulty options. This thing is epic though, a story mode, boss fights, 1 or 2 player local, different ships, voice acting. This thing will keep you coming back chasing high scores, that is for sure, and I wish this genre had more of a fan base, because honestly, shmups are some of the most rewarding experiences you can play. 70% off makes this one an easy decision. Our penultimate game of the week then, Velocity 2X, 75% off. This is a game I first experienced on the Vita, and now I've even like triple dipped at this point and picked up a physical collector's edition as well. This combines two elements, run and gun platforming alongside some good old shmup action. The platforming fast paced with tight controls, and you'll even be able to like teleport. Then the shmup moments, 360-degree movement, and again you can actually teleport your ship, so think like if you want to jump through walls. Here though, expect just epic sci-fi action, including the storyline where you take on the role of Lieutenant Kaitana, a former test pilot who was captured by a race of hostile aliens. Cue an escape and your chance to then of course save the universe. Must buy in my books, and if you're like interested, a ton of reviews online to check out. Alright, so our final game of the week then, Shakedown Hawaii, a new all-time low price and bringing it into the sub $10 range for the first ever time. Visually, it's not going to like blow your mind, but as retro pixel artwork goes, this is for me about as impressive as it gets. Think here like old school, and I'm talking like the original GTA, but instead of being top down, it's very slightly isometric. The gameplay is solid though as you explore this island by foot or any transportation that you can find or of course steal, but the aim, build a legitimate business any way you can, meaning complete missions, sabotage competitors, terrorize locals, or even a small bit of, extortion. It's not exactly above board the actions you take, let's put it that way, but what I will say this game is, it's a whole lot of fun. It's old school, but it's got a great style and sense of humour, and I just enjoyed it from beginning to end, and it was just a fantastic sequel to Retro City Rampage. But I will say there, you don't need to play Retro City Rampage first, no knowledge is required. 50% off though, another great one to consider for those of you who enjoy your 16-bits. And that is it, another week down, bit quieter on the sales front this week, but yeah, I've got to say some nice indie gems and a whole lot of roguelikes. Will you be adding anything to your collection this week though, or are you like waiting on those bigger budget drops in Saturday's edition? Really looking forward to that one actually, since we have a decent chunk of first time sales coming up. With that though, a shout out to the patrons of the channel who are just going above and beyond to support SwitchCorner. Helps more than you know, and I do appreciate it, so thank you all so much. If you want to check that out for yourself, it is linked in the video description down below. Then hit subscribe if you love the Switch as much as we all do here. Join our growing family, and I'll see you all on the next video. Thanks everyone.